This is Austin Smallwood, your SCR Director of Legal and Regulatory Affairs, to go over the upcoming changes to SCR Form 518. This is the release of agreement. So this form is different than the notice of termination SCR Form 313, as this form does require both party signatures to be valid. The notice of termination is simply a unilateral communication from one party to the other that they intend to terminate. The release of agreement is intended to be signed by both parties. So the first of the upcoming changes is previously this form was signed by both buyer, seller, and brokers. We have removed the requirement that brokers sign this form. This is really between the buyer and the seller is coming to an agreement saying, hey, we can't make this contract work. We're going to agree to release our contract, terminate the contract, not hold each other liable, and discuss what we're going to do with earnest money. So we decided that brokers no longer needed to sign this form. However, we do still have in there protection for the brokers that they are protected under the hold harmless. So the intent of Form 518 is it really does three things. Again, it is to say the contract is null and void. We're going to terminate the contract. It says that we're going to hold each other harmless. We're not going to sue each other over this contract where it's going to be like we never met each other. And then really where we're going to get down to the biggest changes here of what do we do with this earnest money. So again, in SCR contracts, there is no contractual disbursement of earnest money. Earnest money must be dispersed either through mutual agreement of the parties or a court order. So when we talk about mutual agreement of the parties, this is going to be the form that you use here. I always kind of say that the release agreement is going to be your best option. It's going to certainly be much quicker, faster, cheaper than litigation. So try to use this form if ever possible. So really now we're going to have four options for what you can check here. The first two are pretty obvious. The amount of money that's in dispute. It's either all going to the buyer or all going to the seller. Make sure you're only checking one of these options because they obviously can be confusing if you check multiple options. The third option is we're going to split the earnest money, however what you wish to do it, so much to the buyer, so much to the seller. Option 4 is where the real fundamental change happened. This now states the option 4. So previously we had an issue where we would get the call on the hotline, hey, the buyer and seller are completely fine not going through with this contract, but they can't figure out what to do with the earnest money. They are still having an earnest money dispute, but they agreed that they do not want to buy this house or they do not want to sell this house. They are fine not going through the transaction, but there's an earnest money dispute. So what can we do here? So option 4 would be where you could do that. So that is where the parties agreed to terminate the contract, but they're still disputing the release of that earnest money. So now the parties are going to request that the escrow agent, whether that be the buyer's broker, seller's broker, or law firm, file an appropriate action with the court of competent jurisdiction to resolve the dispute. We have understood that the parties may consult legal counsel about all their legal options, claims, risk that they may have. So the parties agree that they are fine terminating the contract, but they can't figure out what to do with the earnest money. They can now both check option 4, sign that, and then present that to the escrow agent. Essentially say, hey, would you please file the interpleader action on our behalf so the court can determine what we want to do with the earnest money, because we cannot come to a mutual agreement, so we're going to rely on that other option, the court order. And then, of course, we now have 4 buyer lines and 4 seller lines, but no broker signatures on there. So those are the changes to SCR Form 518, the release of agreement. If you have questions on this form or any other form in the SCR Forms library, give us a call on the legal hotline, 803-772-5206. Thank you.